a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Ethereum. Ethereum is an open-source, public, blockchain-based distributed computing platform and operating system featuring smart contract functionality. It supports a modified version of Nakamoto consensus via transaction-based state transitions. In popular discourse, the term Ethereum is often used interchangeably with Ether to refer to the cryptocurrency that is generated on the Ethereum platform. Ether is a cryptocurrency whose blockchain is generated by the Ethereum platform. Ether can be transferred between accounts and used to compensate participant mining nodes for computations performed. Ethereum provides a decentralized Turing-complete virtual machine, the Ethereum Virtual Machine, which can execute scripts using an international network of public nodes. Gas, an internal transaction pricing mechanism, is used to mitigate spam and allocate resources on the network. Ethereum was proposed in late 2013 by Vitalik Buterin, a cryptocurrency researcher and programmer. Development was funded by an online crowd sale that took place between July and August 2014. The system went live on the 30th of July 2015, with 11.9 million coins pre-mined for the crowd sale. This accounts for approximately 13% of the total circulating supply. In 2016, as a result of the collapse of the DAO project, Ethereum was split into two separate blockchains. The new separate version became Ethereum, and the original continued as Ethereum Classic. The value of the Ethereum currency grew over 13,000% in 2017. Etymology. Vitalik Buterin picked the name Ethereum after browsing Wikipedia articles about elements and science fiction. When he found the name, noting, "I immediately realized that I liked it better than all of the other alternatives that I had seen. I suppose it was the fact that sounded nice. And it had the word ether, referring to the hypothetical invisible medium that permeates the universe and allows light to travel." History. Ethereum was initially described in a white paper by Vitalik Buterin, a programmer involved with Bitcoin magazine, in late 2013, with the goal of building decentralized applications. Buterin had argued that Bitcoin needed a scripting language for application development. Failing to gain agreement, he proposed development of a new platform with a more general scripting language. At the time of public announcement in January 2014, the core Ethereum team was Vitalik Buterin, Mihail Isi, Anthony D'Iorio, and Charles Hoskinson. Formal development of the Ethereum software project began in early 2014 through a Swiss company, Ethereum Switzerland GmbH. Subsequently, a Swiss non-profit foundation, the Ethereum Foundation, was created as well. Development was funded by an online public crowd sale during July-August 2014, with the participants buying the Ethereum value token with another digital currency, Bitcoin. While there was early praise for the technical innovations of Ethereum, questions were also raised about its security and scalability. Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, EEA. In March 2017, various blockchain startups, research groups, and Fortune 500 companies announced the creation of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, with 30 founding members. By May, the non-profit organization had 116 enterprise members, including Consensus, CME Group, Cornell University's Research Group, Toyota Research Institute, Samsung STS, Microsoft, Intel, JP Morgan, Cooley LLP, Merck Co., DTCC, Deloitte, Accenture, Banco Santander, BNY Mellon, ING, and National Bank of Canada. By July 2017, there were over 150 members in the alliance, including recent additions MasterCard, Cisco Systems, and Scotiabank. Milestones. Several code-named prototypes of the Ethereum platform were developed by the Foundation as part of their proof of concept series. Prior to the official launch of the Frontier network, Olympic was the last of these prototypes, and public beta pre-release. The Olympic network provided users with a bug bounty of 25,000 Ether for stress testing the limits of the Ethereum blockchain. Frontier marked the tentative experimental release of the Ethereum platform in July 2015. Homestead was the first to be considered stable. It includes improvements to transaction processing, gas pricing, and security. Since the initial launch, Ethereum has undergone several planned protocol upgrades, which are important changes affecting the underlying functionality and/or incentive structures of the platform. There are at least 2 other protocol upgrades planned in the future. Metropolis is intended to reduce the complexity of the EVM and provide more flexibility for smart contract developers. Metropolis also adds supports for ZK snarks, with the first ZK snark transaction occurring on testnet on September 19, 2017. Serenity should include a fundamental change to Ethereum's consensus algorithm to enable a basic transition from hardware mining to virtual mining. Improvements to scalability, specifically sharding, are also said to be a key objective on the development roadmap. The DAO event. In 2016, a decentralized autonomous organization called the DAO, a set of smart contracts developed on the platform, raised a record in a crowd sale to fund the project. The DAO was exploited in June when Ether were claimed by an anonymous entity. The event sparked a debate in the crypto community about whether Ethereum should perform a contentious hard fork to reappropriate the affected funds. As a result of the dispute, the network split in two. Ethereum continued on the forked blockchain, while Ethereum Classic continued on the original blockchain. The hard fork created a rivalry between the two networks. After the hard fork related to the DAO, Ethereum subsequently forked twice in the fourth quarter of 2016 to deal with other attacks. By the end of November 2016, Ethereum had increased its DDoS protection, debloated the blockchain, and thwarted further spam attacks by hackers. Ether. Ether is a fundamental cryptocurrency for operation of Ethereum, which thereby provides a public distributed ledger for transactions. It is used to pay for gas, a unit of computation used in transactions and other state transitions. Mistakenly, this currency is also referred to as Ethereum. It is listed under the code ETH and traded on cryptocurrency exchanges, and the Greek uppercase Xi character is generally used for its currency symbol. It is also used to pay for transaction fees and computational services on the Ethereum network. Characteristics. As with other cryptocurrencies, the validity of each Ether is provided by a blockchain, which is a continuously growing list of records, called blocks, which are linked and secured using cryptography. By design, the blockchain is inherently resistant to modification of the data. It is an open, distributed ledger that records transactions between two parties efficiently and in a verifiable and permanent way. Unlike Bitcoin, Ethereum operates using accounts and balances in a manner called state transitions. This does not rely upon unspent transaction outputs. State denotes the current balances of all accounts and extra data. State is not stored on the blockchain. It is stored in a separate Merkle-Patricia tree. A cryptocurrency wallet stores the public and private keys, or addresses, which can be used to receive or spend Ether. These can be generated through BIP39 style mnemonics for a BIP32 HD wallet. In Ethereum, this is unnecessary as it does not operate in a UTXO scheme. With the private key, it is possible to write in the blockchain, effectively making an Ether transaction. To send Ether to an account, you need the public key of that account. Ether accounts are pseudonymous in that they are not linked to individual persons, but rather to one or more specific addresses. Owners can store these addresses in software, on paper and possibly in memory. Addresses. Ethereum addresses are composed of the prefix 0x, a common identifier for hexadecimal, concatenated with the rightmost 20 bytes of the Kekuk 256 hash of the IDSA public key. In hexadecimal, 2 digits represents a byte, meaning addresses contain 40 hexadecimal digits. One example is 0xB794F5E0bar3949474279579268. The Poloniex cold wallet. Contract addresses are in the same format, however they are determined by sender and creation transaction nonce. User accounts are indistinguishable from contract accounts given only an address for each and no blockchain data. Any valid Kekik 256 hash put into the described format is valid, even if it does not correspond to an account with a private key or a contract. This is unlike Bitcoin, which uses base 58 check to ensure that addresses are properly typed. Supply. The total supply of Ether was 98 million as of January 2018. In 2017, mining generated 9.2 million new Ether, corresponding to a 10% increase in its total supply. Casper FFG and CBC are expected to reduce the inflation rate to between 0.5% to 2%. There is no currently implemented hard cap on the total supply of ETH, but it is expected to end at a certain point and become deflationary. Markets and stores. Ether can be traded by regular currency brokers, cryptocurrency exchanges, as well as many online cryptocurrency wallets. As of January 2018, at least 150 stores accept Ether. Virtual Machine. The Ethereum Virtual Machine is the runtime environment for smart contracts in Ethereum. It is a 256-bit register stack, designed to run the same code exactly as intended. It is the fundamental consensus mechanism for Ethereum. The formal definition of the EVM is specified in the Ethereum Yellow Paper. It is sandboxed and also completely isolated from the network, file system or other processes of the host computer system. Every Ethereum node in the network runs an EVM implementation and executes the same instructions. In February 1, 2018, there were 27,500 nodes in the main Ethereum network. Ethereum virtual machines have been implemented in C++, Go, Haskell, Java, JavaScript, Python, Ruby, Rust, and WebAssembly. The Ethereum-flavored WebAssembly is expected to become a major component of the Web 3.0, a World Wide Web where users interact with smart contracts through a browser. Smart contracts. Ethereum's smart contracts are based on different computer language, which developers use to program their own functionalities. Smart contracts are high-level programming abstractions that are compiled down to EVM bytecode and deployed to the Ethereum blockchain for execution. They can be written in Solidity, Serpent, LLL, and Muton. There is also a research-oriented language under development called Viper. Smart contracts can be public, which opens up the possibility to prove functionality, and more self-contained provably fair casinos. One issue related to using smart contracts on a public blockchain is that bugs, including security holes, are visible to all, but cannot be fixed quickly. One example of this is the 17th of June 2016 attack on the DAO, which could not be quickly stopped or reversed. There is ongoing research on how to use formal verification to express and prove non-trivial properties. A Microsoft research report noted that writing solid smart contracts can be extremely difficult in practice, using the DAO hack to illustrate this problem. The report discussed tools that Microsoft had developed for verifying contracts, and noted that a large-scale analysis of published contracts is likely to uncover widespread vulnerabilities. The report also stated that it is possible to verify the equivalence of a Solidity program in the EVM code. Brought to you by WikiVidi documentaries. Would you like to know more?